Hey YouTube, this is Ben Gessel. How's it going? I'm just gonna make one more video tonight, and this has more to do with um, I can't remember the guys watching a video of. I've seen mm, more than usual, more than usual, more than I usually watch in a week. I've seen some different stuff on YouTube recently. Some of it was maybe a bit more just off beaten path a little bit for me recently. Okay, it's just for the fun of it. There's these video games with that are like battle simulations or wars, and one of my old roommates used to play these games a lot, and I always found them to be um, hard to manage because it's like I don't know. Anyway, total war types of things. So I've been watching a bit of those, as well as some other videos that have to do with and not really too many of these total war things. It just brings back memories and stuff. But so I've been watching more things having to do with how could I put this? Well, yeah, okay. Some people seem to have some interesting thoughts about race. I'm just, I have to say this stuff because it's kind of getting more of a thing. Kind of getting to be more of a thing right now. And everybody's got something to say about race. But it used to be, I remember when I was younger, it used to be that everything was just, I don't know, different. I mean, yeah, so much of my outlook on so many subjects has a lot to do with my interactions with people I had in elementary school, junior high, and high school. By the time I went to college, I knew I knew what was going on. I had my basic knowledge of how all of the world, and what I thought of different nations and peoples, and as a religious or a standpoint of character for myself, as an aspect of moral character, I knew that it was wrong to put any group of people over another group of people. Of course, you could always have societal preferences or certain kinds of admirations for certain kinds of people. That's okay, so long as you didn't you weren't actively putting other groups down, sort of thing, because of their race. So I knew all these things, of course, but everybody wants to talk about on YouTube, especially YouTube. So many people want to talk about race. This black guy I was listening to, and again, it's, since I've unsubscribed from David Carroll, it's not one of David Carroll's extremely insightful, but extremely, well, you'd have to, I don't know, you'd have to watch this stuff to, I don't know, I have, it's just, I guess the best way of putting it here, when it comes to conservative black guys that are older, like David Carroll, um, going on and on about the things that are wrong with Black America, it's, you can have so many points that you make that are right, but or seem very correct. But if you're essentially a pessimist, right? If you're a pessimist, or you have this cynical, pessimistic tone about what you're saying, at some point, at some point, people are going to say, "Man, this is just pulling me down. I'm having these depressed thoughts." Who needs it? Who needs it? I mean, yeah. I mentioned that in another video. David has a lot of things going for him. He's, whatever. But this other guy, it's last name of Peterson. I can't remember. It's not Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson's a different guy. This is another guy. It's a black guy's last name Peterson. It's not really so important to me, but yeah, it was obvious that this guy is not Jesse Jackson. He's not. Yeah, he's yeah. Okay, so he's trying. This guy is so interesting, weird. I would say a little bit weird. So this guy has he's a black guy, but he has no love for Africa. He has no love. I mean, I don't know. Individuals are different, but he calls, he's American. He's American, right? And he's going on about how there's a race war against white people. A race war against white people. Oh boy, you know. Uh, I asked myself, should I bring this up? No, maybe I should. Maybe I should. So, some of these people on YouTube, it's like, do you want to start something? Really? Haven't we had enough wars in the 1900s? Didn't we have enough? Did we have a certain kind of war about race? As I was, I seem to remember somewhere in the mid 1900s there was a war that had a lot to do with race, and it really didn't. It wasn't really the sort of thing that. No, I mean, we had a Great Depression, that sort of thing. It was nice to have a war to help us out of that depression, but I'm like, no, I really don't like the idea of millions upon millions of Russians and Jews and Germans and who knows how, Poles, Slavs. I don't know how many people died in World War II. Not to mention people in Asia, like Japanese, Korean, Chinese, especially, and all throughout. Oh my gosh! And then there's the Philippines. No, that was a huge freaking war. That was a big war, and it's about about blonde hair and blue eyes are better than. No, I mean, like, haven't we had enough wars about race? Haven't we? And not just talking to Europeans, but everybody. It's just everybody. Have we not had enough murders? Have we had like, why is this black guy, going on and on? I don't know how many videos he's made, or how. I don't know. There's all these other people are talking about race all the time on YouTube. Why? What? I whether it's black Hebrew Israelites talking about how they're Israelites and they're going to heaven, along with American Indians, and everybody else is going to hell because we're not Israelite. And I dismissed that a long time ago. But they still have a presence on YouTube, and every time you look up something having to do with Israel or Jesus was black, they're gonna be there, and the black Hebrew Israelites, or it makes all the white supremacists. Yeah, they're there on YouTube, but they have a totally different kind of thing going on about them. It's just disgusting how, when it comes to, especially to white supremacy, the really nauseating thing about that all is how, what's the word I'm thinking of here? How subtle it can be. So subtle. You're watching something and you think to yourself, huh, okay. And then okay. And it just drifts that direction. Just a little bit. All it takes is just to think, oh, maybe I need to be a little less friendly to Muslims or something, right? Maybe I need to get a gun. Need to America, right? Just have a little bit more of that kind of attitude, and then it's just a very subtle thing. It depends. Everybody's a little different, right? But as a white guy in America, having, it's just the way things are in my life. But it's all these very subtle, these videos that kind of suggest these ideas, and unless you know what you have to. So what are you suggesting? Asking the YouTuber, what are you suggesting that I do about this? I don't live in Europe. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they're doing things in Europe I keep hearing about. What do you honestly expect me to do about that? In my life, I have so many things I can do. Honestly, like, I've never given anybody a bad time ever at all about about the race. And in Washington, I've seen a few mosques. What do you want me to do? You want me to take it by a gun and go in there and threaten people? Is that what you want me to do, or do you want me to move somewhere else because somehow Western Washington's only for liberals, or it's all gonna just be given up to the homeless, and so you want me to move somewhere like the Mountain West, Midwest, just because of that, or somehow I'm lumped in with these people because I'm a Western Washingtonian, so what are I mean I honestly ask these YouTubers, what do you want me to do? I mean, I understand you have certain views and things and whatever, and a lot of your views, or maybe we're not sure yet about some views, whether or not they're good or bad. Maybe they're kind of right in the fence, or we're trying to be respectful to everyone, and having that kind of respectful attitude means just watching how much of a Nazi we sound like, kind of thing, right? But everybody in Europe is so petrified of sounding like a Nazi, and some people are tired of it, and so they're saying, well, we're Nazis, right? In Russia, you get Nazis and stuff. Believe me, folks, I hear about all this stuff. I mean, I know it sounds like sometimes. No, trust me, I I keep tabs in this stuff. I do, and I just got to tell you guys, for all this talk of there's all kinds of subjects that everybody's talking about on YouTube, all kinds of subjects. One of them being race. And I got to tell you, most of the time, vast majority of the time, when there's some kind of YouTube video talking about race, the person that's talking is full of crap. They're full of crap. I'm serious. If just full of it. They're full of crap. Now let's just take a few ideas here. Just a few. That seem to be kind of gaining some steam. For YouTubers and things. This idea, I'm just throwing this out here, okay? This is not coming from me. This is coming from other people on YouTube. Okay. So there's an issue in Europe, right? We've been seeing this for a while. Apparently it's not even just Muslims. It's also Africans. It has to do with Africans too. It's anybody who's not a white European. And so you have a lot of crimes being committed by these folks. Now, who they are, in particular, it does strike me as being the case that we're not really talking about Africans. What we're talking about in certain countries in Europe is we're talking about, as far as I understand it, now I'm not in Europe, so I wouldn't really know firsthand, but we're talking about more of an Islam issue, in particular Pakistan, Somalia, and maybe a few others. And just maybe the issue is perhaps blown out of proportion a little bit, but maybe not so much, but maybe it has something to do with, I don't know, paranoia. When you take some stuff that isn't quite right, and hopefully I think Europe is kind of moving in the right direction, maybe. I think that a lot of things that, I don't know, like I keep asking myself, so what were you expecting in Sweden? Were you expecting these Somalian folks to just sing Kumbaya with you? And I mean, like really, I'm looking at the government though. It's not the Swedish people; it's the government. But like, there's some idiots over there. There really are some idiots. But look, Somalians are just the way they are, right? But you get Somalians rubbing shoulders with Pakistanis and Arabs and some other folks over there, and they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like this. It's like when you get, oh boy. Okay, if I was someplace like, yeah, I'll just say Russia. If I was in Russia and I was talking with a bunch of blonde Russians and throwing a few Finns and I don't know, Germans maybe, I don't know. We're having a great old time, right? And we decided to go. I was just kind of following the leader, right? And I was just, yeah. I actually find I'm right in the middle of some neo-Nazi thing. Like, how did I get here? I imagine it's a little bit like the same way it is with a lot of Muslim guys. They have this freedom in Europe that they don't have necessarily in the Middle East. And the blonde women are pretty, right? So a bunch of them from different countries get together and like, yeah, and it, maybe they're afraid. Some people are like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing this, but maybe, yes, And are their dads saying? What are their dads saying? And it's just some things you have to think about. But I know there's a problem in Europe. And I ask myself the question. First off, is this being, are what we're hearing, how much of what we're hearing is true, and are there any exaggeration in numbers? And, what exactly is going on here? Why are the police more involved? I keep wondering that the thing that's even more than Islam or whatever issues are going on in Europe, I keep wondering why the governments don't take more action. We have one of the biggest inmate populations in the entire world, the United States. Europe doesn't have very many people there at all. So why don't you arrest them? Oh, wait. That's right. Seattle has a problem also with this same issue. So then, does it seem like it's kind of a problem with liberalism? And everybody's saying it's a problem with liberalism. Well, what kind of liberalism are you talking about? You're talking about so you just keep going and going and going with this stuff. It's like, it's just so frustrating because it's not a question of names of different, it's not, labels don't always suffice. You're talking about policies, right? Laws and policies and how they're enforced. I've been told that there's certain areas in Sweden that are so gang infested now that the police don't even go in there. That's not law and order, Sweden. Why don't you get some additional National Guard from other countries that want to help you out? They'll go in there and they'll take care of business, right? If you're too polite to do that, then at least ask for some help. But maybe you think that's going to make you look weak. Maybe militarize your police a little bit and kick some butt. That's just like, but that's just for people that are being criminals from other countries because they think they can because it's Europe and not the Middle East. I don't know what the laws are like in the Middle East. I just know that they're a lot more draconian in some respects. So it's like, and I wonder, it's the same deal with San Francisco and the homeless. It's like, what the devil's going on? But this, I know I'm kind of getting off topic here. So let's get back to race here a little bit. So, but so many YouTubers keep dwelling on this idea that certain races have certain qualities that are innate, right? Innate qualities. I must admit, to be quite honest, to be quite blunt, we don't. The most important thing I have to say in this regard is we don't know. We just don't know. When it comes to innate qualities, We have hunches. We have our own opinions, but we just don't really know. Well, we're still figuring out the genetic code and these little differences we have from race to race, human variation to human variation. We don't know this stuff. We don't know it for sure. But so then some people say, oh, it doesn't exist. Or there is no difference between race to race. No, I can't say that entirely either. But it's like, is it heredity or is it your environment that affects how you are? Well, it's both. But there's a lot of things we don't understand yet. And we want to understand them. I don't know. But when people make too much of a big deal out of what race someone is, if that's what they focus on, it doesn't. To me, it's not very healthy. It's not a healthy way of looking at the world and people. It's fine to look at it a little bit. It's fine to notice it. It's fine to talk about it, but to obsess about it, not so much. Not so much. Folks, if I were to obsess about my race and think about it all the time, how would that affect my character? How do you think it would affect how I treat other people? So I'd consider people that were white. Would I treat them even better? But what exactly does that mean, better? Better in what way? And of course, for everybody else that is not white, would that mean if I treated them worse, would that somehow make me a better person? And would it help me treat people that are white better? Or would it just make me be more of a bully, so I treat everybody worse? Because if you're total jerk to someone, and then you all of a sudden you're like a really nice person to this other person, isn't that going to come across ultimately as being very two-faced, hypocritical? No, you're actually trying to be more of a nice person to everyone, a good person to everyone, a person of character, right? To everyone. Otherwise, if it's just for one type of person, it's not good character. It's a deceptive kind of thing. So there's all kinds of other things that would happen if I obsessed about my own race. So I don't know what would happen. I just know that when you obsess about your race, it's not healthy. And when YouTubers are talking about race all the time, is that a healthy thing? No, it's not a healthy thing. No. It's not. Look, when Benjamin Franklin talked about how he felt about his preference for more people in the United States being of English descent or Saxon Germans, or let's say Danes, maybe Danes too. So we're talking about people from the mouth of the Elbe River, Hamburg area, down a little way south, but not too far south, and then across North Sea over to England, and that he really liked Saxons a lot. He wanted there to be more Saxons in the United States, have their numbers grow. But the Southern Germans and a lot of other folks, most everyone else, he didn't really. But he wanted more Saxons. Yeah. So that was Benjamin Franklin, and everybody gets the wrong idea about this stuff, right? So did Ben Franklin, was he thinking about this all the time, or is this just something that he thought about on occasion? And how did he treat people from other backgrounds? Well, all I can say is, I don't think Ben Franklin ever took a whip and beat a black person across his back because he was black, or because he was a slave. I don't think Ben ever did that. Now, how did he treat people that were Italian or Russian or, hey, he called the Swedes like ruddish, or they had a complexion. The Swedes are very fair skinned, but he said that they were kind of red cheeked, or something about the Swedes that made them just very distinct from the Saxons. And maybe not, he wasn't very fond of the Swedes, right? Well, that's different, right? But how did he, we never hear any stories about how Ben Franklin was disparaging toward anybody who was not Saxon, German, or English, right? We don't hear about that stuff. maybe had a preference, maybe had some kind of preference for their company. Does it make him a racist? Everybody's calling everybody racist these days. And so, because it's happening, some people will call everybody in the past racist. It's just, again, that's not healthy either. Why would you waste time and energy trying to label everybody in the past that thought remotely of something bad about somebody because of their skin color? Why would you waste your time going through all those people and trying to figure out if they're racist or not? Do people actually do that? Really, do people actually do that? Like, all the injustices of the past. Do people really think that somehow they can expect some kind of reparations for all those things? Why not just leave it in the hands of God? If you don't believe in God, I don't know. I suppose atheists would probably want to take matters more in their own hands. Let's have another war, sure. What the heck? So it's like, man, folks. I mean, seriously, bless your hearts if you're not watching this stuff. If you stay away from all these crazy videos, that's probably a good thing, right? But just to let you know, they are getting to be a bigger deal on YouTube. Every year, there seems to be more and more talk, and more anger, more and more frustration. And most importantly, more and more just idiocy, and more stereotypes, and less patience. And I don't like it at all. Where's it all go? Where is it all heading to? What is it leading to? If you keep talking about something that is angry and divisive, right? Or you dwell on it in your mind, where is that going to lead? Where does that go? Does it go to heaven? If anybody honestly believes that God is just going to accept Anglo-Saxons in heaven, or just accept West Africans, not even East Africans, just West Africans and American Indians and Caribbean folks or whatever, or Polynesians, or if God is just gonna, whoever you think he's, if people honestly entertain those kinds of thoughts, I mean, sometimes it's more understandable than other times. It just depends on the nature of the thought process, but it's just ridiculous. It's repulsive to think that God and all his kids, all his children, it's all of us. Nope. Just because you're born a certain way, that means you're going to heaven. Nope. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what you think about. Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. All that matters is what you look like. And that means you're going to heaven or not. Right? No, people, I don't know, if there's anything that's full of crap, it's those kinds of ideas. Right? So, maybe to sum up this video, I just want to say this. Thanks for sticking with me so long. I just want to say this. And I've been avoiding this subject to speak of this so directly. But I've come to a point where I have to say something about this. Because of how many idiots are talking about this on YouTube nowadays. So you cannot be filled with angry thoughts about other races. You cannot do that and expect that you're going to be level-headed and that you're going to change the world in a positive way. It will not happen that way. The only way that you can actually make positive changes in the world is by not dwelling on things like race. You have to dwell on things like moral character and learning from the past, learning from history, learning about human psychology, learning about how can we get along better. And if your religion, and it's good to seek out religious truth as far as you can understand it, but there is kind of that search for theological truth, which that's another subject as well. But you have to you have to think in terms of uh, putting down your sword, so to speak. Putting down your sword and saying, how can we all get along? Right? I'm not saying Rodney King's a saint. I don't. Maybe he's a pretty cool guy. I don't know. I know when you pick up that sword, right? Unless it's in self-defense, you actually life's in danger. Look, you're not helping the world. Nobody's helping the world by fighting unless you're defending yourself, right? You can only do good in the world if you're doing good for anyone that needs help. Not just people of a certain race or a certain religion or whatever. And that's the way it works. And, call it something moral if you want to. I just know that all these guys talking about race, vast majority of the time they're full of crap. Vast majority of the time they're full of crap. And so I have to be careful not to fall into that trap. I know you do as well. I'll talk to you guys later. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Talk to you guys later. Bye.